Last week, the boat project started aboard Ron. We got to fly over Seattle and the surroundings. A visit to the Swedish club made us nostalgic, and then we soaked up the local culture.
After spending the summer and fall in Alaska and British Columbia, we have come down to Seattle to spend the winter and do lots of boat projects.
So we just take the lines in the front first?
Yeah, you can take them off. You can probably take them off just on the boat. You don't even have to get off the boat.
Oh yeah. So we're on Kenneth's boat. Today we're going to Poulsbo, on the other side here. I think it's about, what do you say, 10 miles?
I don't know.
So we're going through the locks today, and so it's a bit of a rehearsal for us, which is nice, because we're going to move in Ron here later, or the beginning of next year, to haul her out, and then we also need to go through these locks, the Ballard locks.
Kenneth keeps his boat Nostra Casa on Lake Union, a canal-looking lake going straight through Seattle.
Infrared camera.
Yeah.
There are two locks, so we'll see which one we're going through. Probably the small one, and then we just tie the lines and the walls go down, so we don't have to do anything after we tie the lines. But if you go through the big locks, the boat moves down, so then you have to give slack. Morning.
How you doing, guys? Okay, you're good. I'll stop.
How many times have you done this?
Lost
Like
hundreds and hundreds
of times.
Yeah, that's, I mean, the only downside of having fresh water and mooring in the lake is, you know, the lock is kind of the limiter as far as getting out quickly and enjoying Puget Sound, but I'll exchange that for barnacles and salt spray all year long when you're not using it.
Yeah.
These are pleasant locks to go through too.
Yeah. The water level drops as much as 8 meters when it's low tide to reach the sea level.
It's nice to have these two screens, so you can have one close and one zoomed in and one overlooking.
We crossed Puget Sound, and it was quite a different experience being out on the water in November on a big motorboat than on a sailboat. Now we're in Poulsbo.
Yes.
This is a cute town. This is a Scandinavian town.
Hello, yes, we just docked out there and we're wanting
Poulsbo was founded by Scandinavian immigrants in the 1880s, and all the way up until the Second World War, most of the residents used Norwegian as their primary language.
Polkagris. Have you ever tried this?
The lady running the store used to live in Sweden, and there were lots of Swedish goodies.
And then I had a boyfriend who was Swedish with Ballard, and so that helped.
Yeah,
language.
of course.
And, yeah,
Cool.
we're still friends. But
You still speak Swedish?
Yes.
Oh, that's not very common.
No, it's very straight.
Yeah, learn Swedish. It's not a big language.
So,
That's all you do there. That was fun.
Yeah, no, we-
Oh, okay. It's a really nice chandelier store. I like this store with all this old stuff. It's really, yeah. Oh, okay.
Him bring him. Tracy would let me do artwork in our house. That's how I would. Yeah. But I have to bring home cinnamon rolls for the boys.
Tatt för såna.
So all three operator.
Yeah.
Heading out to Puget Sound again, we pass by a big group of sea lions, having a feast on a school of fish. Wow, this is so cool! Probably having a feeding frenzy here, eating a lot of fish. Hey guys, can you see? Oh, hi there!
Have you ever gone back by this and
Hello. Oh, they are outside.
Look at that big one. Yeah. It's a bit more windy now. The wind has picked up. We have maybe, I don't know, it's hard to tell. We're doing 7 knots over ground. So the wind is probably 20 to 25 knots. And straight on the nose. But it's not very far. We're just going to cross the sound here.
You're pretty comfy there.
Yeah, it's a bit different from from Ron.
You're just sitting in your
Yeah,
shirt.
sitting in here. We have the heater on. Yeah, I don't even have the jacket on. It's pretty different. And it's a bit different too that you're so much higher up.
Yeah.
Wow, it's bumpy now.
Now we're going up again into the lake,
Yeah.
and it's not very late, but it gets dark really fast now. I think it's maybe it's not even 6 o'clock. I think.
Yeah. And it was my first powerboat maneuver in
Yeah.
a marina or a dock.
You did great, and really close in a
Yeah.
in a lock.
Yeah.
That was great. How did it feel?
I was a bit different because the
Yeah.
rudders are so much smaller, so you
And
need to
also
have
this.
speed and you need to, control both engines, and yeah, it's a bit different.
It goes so fast.
Yeah, the 2 thrusters, 2 engine controls. It's pretty different from the sailboat, that's for sure. But to be honest, it's a bit easier because you have so much more control, power control. On the sailboat it's easier in that way that you have a bigger rudder, but here you can really power up with the 2 engines and also the thrusters. It's a bit easier. But you need more speed if you want to use only the rudders, because the rudders are so much smaller. So in that way it's different from the sailboat. Molly is working the lines down there. I guess Kenneth is on the back. We're entering Union Lake again.
Ready to kick those sailboats off and get yourself a powerboat now?
Yeah, I don't know. It was a different experience driving the trawler in tight quarters compared to a sailboat. With 2 props and a bow thruster, it's a lot more maneuverable than ram, but at the same time it's more sensitive for wind and surface current.
Lägg av älskling.
Going forward.
Okay. I think that's it, right? It's okay?
Yeah, you're good, perfect. Shut it down.
Yeah.
Hold the stop line on here.
Yeah. I don't know how to shut it down. Alright.
We've decided to update our sails and get new ones from a company called Sail Service in Germany. So before traveling to Sweden, we had to make sure we had all the measurements for the new sails.
So now we're going to measure the luff and the leash on the sail, and yeah, the foot I measured when the sail was up. And yeah, it's always a bit nervous when you take these measurements, because you know if it's not correct it will be a big problem later on. All right, so Malin, if you hold this here, and I guess you need to hold it pretty hard because I need to have it straight.
The weather got colder and colder, but there were still a lot of sunny days.
Today's time to go back home. First time in 18 months. Feels really cold. So we're getting picked up in about 3 hours. And yeah, tomorrow we'll be in Sweden. So we're going to leave the boat here in Harbor Island Marina. And yeah, it looks like it's a pretty protected place. I don't think there's anything bad that can happen here. So, but it's always a bit, you know, leaving the boat in the water for 6 weeks. It's a long time, so we'll close all the through hulls and yeah, some extra lines on the dock. And Kenneth, who has the slip, who lives here, he will check in on the boat from now, yeah, every now and then.
This one is what we have. Gonna check in. And this one. Traveling pretty light, but traveling nowadays, the hardest part is this. All the camera equipment and hard drives, cables, and this we take all this in hand luggage because we don't want to check it in if something would disappear. So all this has to come out for the security check, which is always interesting. So we're gonna pack this up now into backpacks, and we're almost ready to go. I'm super happy. it's gonna be so nice to go home to our other home. This is home now for us, of course. So it feels very strange to leave Ron. I mean, we've been here, we haven't left the boat since we were home last summer, or for a little bit when we were in Colombia. Actually, we were traveling like for a few days, but it's gonna be nice. So we're ready to go. We've checked everything on the boat, and it's just ready to stay here now for a couple of weeks, and we're ready to go home, or home to Sweden. So now we're just waiting for Tyler. He's one of our followers, which has been super kind to offer us a ride to the airport.
Yeah.
Okej, jag gör så här. Puss puss.
When I came back, I got a phone call. Fill up the cockpit.
Yes.
Have a good trip.
All right.
Thank you so much, Tyler.
Bye, Molly.
Happy holidays.
Yeah.
You too.
Yeah. After only 10 hours, we were seeing the familiar Öresunds Bridge, and we were home. We could finally see our family and friends again. So this is our old marina, Dockan Marina in Malmö, and this is where we prepared the boat and everything before we left Sweden. And yeah, I think every time we go home to Sweden we have to come here and visit. So this was our old spot.
It's happened quite a lot around here. All these houses, huh? or at least the ones out there. Thank you so much for watching. It means a lot to us that so many of you guys are tuning in every Friday to watch our show. Please subscribe if you haven't already, and we hope to see you next week as well.